Ladies and gentlemen, do I have a special challenge for you today. Marowak is one of the select Pokemon with a signature item, Thick Club. Generation 2 introduced held items, and while Marowak was okay in red and blue, the Thick Club doubles Marowak's attack to 160, well beyond the naturally highest available attack stats in gold and silver. The Thick Club is not a rare item either, as Wild Cuburn of Marowak can carry the item, which begs the question, just how much better is Marowak with its signature item versus a Marowak that can hold general items? There will be 2 solo runs tonight with Marowak. One can hold any item that is normally acquired throughout the game except the Thick Club. For the other Marowak, it can only hold the Thick Club the entire game. That means no berries, no item other than the Thick Club. Believe me, there are going to be some surprises. Let the challenge begin. We'll start off with our boneless Marowak. Since it should theoretically have worse splits than the Thick Club Marowak, we'll see how it fares in its first segments. How will we be able to tell the difference between them visually? Well, my Fero-eyed viewers, you will notice a few key differences between our combatants throughout the video. We'll set the day to Sunday, since we want to pick up return at the Goldenrod City department store. A lady on the 4th floor will be so impressed at our dominance of the Johto region and the friendships that we have built with our Marowak that she will give us the move return. She also only appears on Sundays. We head over to Elm's lab to pick up our Marowak. Yes, nothing to see or note here. We will name him Boneless. Let's double check that Boneless is in fact carrying just a berry. And yes, he is. Let's also take in that starting moveset. Growl, Tail Whip, Bone Club, and Headbutt. What a great moveset to start with. Looking at the last 2 moves, Bone Club and Headbutt can both cause a flinch, but Headbutt is more accurate and consistent with 100% accuracy and a 30% chance to flinch. Bone Club is only 85% accurate with a 10% chance to flinch. Headbutt does do a little more damage normally, however Bone Club is a ground type move, meaning if we need damage over consistency, we're going clubbing. We'll talk other moves in a minute as we approach our first baddie battle. The starter for the rival will be Totodile, since ground types are weak to water and Meganium is bad. We're going to use Bone Club and cause massive damage, except we miss. Next turn we hit and we get that wonderful animation doing massive damage due to a critical. I'll need to turn off animations after this battle, which is all but over. Another Bone Club hits and baddie has been bona fide beaten. After that first battle, we'll head back to Elm's lab to name the rival, and then we catch our HM artist Hoot Hoot so that we can fly around later. Thanks Hoot Hoot. We're not quite ready to take on Faulkner yet when we arrived at Violet City, and part of my challenge runs is that I need to complete the Sprout Tower. Although Grass is super effective to ground, Marowak has enough special defense to outlast some Vine Webs. We can talk about what's to come from Marowak in terms of moves. The only useful move it's going to learn through level up is Bone Meringue at level 25. It hits twice each turn, so it's like Earthquake but worse accuracy. Most of the other moves are just outclassed. Bone Rush would be very interesting if it was 100% accurate, but alas, it is not. If we take a look at the TMs Marowak can pick up, we see some interesting moves like Iron Tail, Earthquake, and Dig. Earlier I mentioned Return, but any Pokemon that isn't too bad can learn that move. Yes, there are Pokemon that can't learn it, and they are bad Pokemon. So, Marowak isn't going to learn anything too crazy today. We've made it to Sage Leap. How will Marowak handle his Vine Webs? First is Bellsprout, and we opt for damage and go for a Bone Club. It's more than half, but not enough to knock it out. A super effective Vine Whip only does 7 to us. We finish off the first Bellsprout with a Headbutt, and then Sage Leap sends out another Bellsprout. Since we didn't knock out the first Bellsprout with Bone Club, we'll stick with Headbutt, since it'll take 2 turns anyway. We get a flinch too. So, next turn the second Bellsprout goes down, and Sage Leap sends out his final Pokemon in Hoot Hoot. Headbutt from Marowak takes Hoot Hoot down to half, and it goes for Foresight. So we defeat Sage Leap next turn. Oh, guess Hoot Hoot hung out for one more turn, but with Sage Leap out of the way, we stroll over to Faulkner's Gem. The first Bird Keeper in Faulkner's Gem has a level 9 Spearow. It's a good test to see how we'll fare against Faulkner. It does outspeed today, and we take 4 damage from Peck. That's manageable. Since ground can't hit flying, we'll use Headbutt and it does over half. Next turn we take out the Spearow and we're on to the next trainer. He has 2 level 7 Pidgeys, and out first for Birdkeeper Rob is one of those level 7 Pidgeys. We Headbutt first and do over half, meaning we outspeed again. Unfortunately for him, his tackle misses, so one more Headbutt is enough. We level up to 11 and take on the last Pokemon. This Headbutt takes this Pidgey to red and tackle does 3 damage. We defeat Rod and move on. After the battle, I use a potion to replenish our hit points. There's not much left in terms of preparation. Faulkner shouldn't be too threatening. Mudslap from Pidgey could make things interesting, but even Boneless has high damage output at this point. Pidgeotto will not last long. First up for Faulkner is this Pidgey. We go for Headbutt and outspeed, dealing 3/4 of damage. Tackle from Pidgey is still only doing 3. Interestingly enough, it did not go for Mud Slap like I thought it would. On to Pidgeotto. At level 11, we're not going to outspeed, and Gust does 5 damage. Our Headbutt does about 1/3. We take another Gust, and Headbutt takes Pidgeotto down to nothing since we get a critical. Excellent stuff. We level up after getting a massive XP gain from Faulkner, and Boneless takes the first badge without many issues. We're going to head to Azalea Town and prepare for Bugsy. First, we'll pick up our HM Ace Whooper. Thanks, little guy. We're arriving at Union Cave. I'm being careful to avoid trainers. There's a potion here in the corner I want, but this trainer must have just gotten off a roller coaster. We successfully grabbed the item and back out to where we started. Now we need to be careful here. Alrighty, nice and easy. We can't avoid this guy, and he has a bunch of Geodude, so I'll skip the footage of this battle. Now there's another trainer up here we can try to dodge. He's probably so disoriented from spending who knows how long hanging out in the same spot in the same cave. Excellent. We have no issues taking down the rockets and Slowpoke well, and we're knocking on the door at Bugsy's gym. We're only at level 15, which will give Bugsy a better chance to challenge us. What won't be a challenge is the trainers leading up. First is the level 10 Ladybug from the twins. We will use a Headbutt and outspeed, knocking out the Ladybug. Next up is Spinarak, and it's not going to get much further ahead, as Headbutt takes care of it and the twins. It's really hard to remember how bug Pokemon are with ground type moves, and they're often some obscure dual type, so it's safer to just go with Headbutt. Well, next up is this trainer, and his Caterpie is higher level and a bit more defensive. It manages to survive our attack. String Shot hits, so next turn we get outsped and hit with Tackle. But next turn is enough to finish it off. Last is Weedle. We are outsped yet again, and it hits with Poison Sting. But all it does is hit, and it manages to take a Headbutt even better. Next turn we get hit with Poison Sting, and we get Poison too. Great. We finish off the Weedle, and that's it for Bugsy's gym. Well, other than Bugsy. I'm going to heal the poison and our hit points here, but we need to skip this trainer here. Okay, and oof, so close. Well, Bugcatcher Benny's first 2 Pokemon are weaker. The first Weedle, we outspeed and knock it out in 1 hit. Kakuna comes next, and it manages to hang on, but all it can do is harden. We knock it out and level up to 16. Finally, there's Beedrill. Headbutt takes it past half, and Fury Attack hits us 3 times for only 6 damage. We finish off Bugcatcher Benny. We did take a little bit of damage, so we need to heal again before taking on Bugsy. If our boy Benny was any indication, I don't think Bugsy will bug us too much. His Pokemon are a little bit higher level, but we have some firepower. First for Bugsy is Metapod. I tried Bone Club, since it is pure bug type, and it's not very effective. I'll have to remember that next playthrough. String Shot hits, lowering our speed, but next turn we switch to Headbutt and still outspeed, and we move on to Kakuna. We are outsped as Kakuna goes for a James, and Headbutt does not do much damage. Well, this is awkward. We're down to 1 power point left, so yeah, there's not really much else we can do here. We try to finish off Kakuna and get poisoned in the process, and run out of Headbutts. We can knock it out and level up in Desperation, but there is no move to be learned. We'll reset quickly and try again. Now that we're back to full power points, we shouldn't be too worried. First for Bugsy is Metapod, and we hit it first with Headbutt, causing a flinch. So next turn is enough to take it out, and we move on to Kakuna. It again goes for a former Arizona State University basketball player, but next turn our Headbutt hits and causes a flinch, so it goes down soon after. We level up, we don't need Leer since we already have Tail Whip, and finally we make it to Scyther. It moves first and uses Quick Attack, while Headbutt does about 1/4. It switches to the Fury Cutter and only does 3 damage. Our Headbutt does another 1/4, and time is running out for Scyther. Fury Cutter does 7 damage, and Headbutt takes Scyther to red health. We do get taken down to orange health ourselves, but Headbutt is not going to miss, and we defeat Bugsy. So that means now we need to take on the rival. His Totodile will have evolved into Crocodile by now, and it knows Water Gun, so it's not going to be the most straightforward battle. Plus, first for Baddie is Ghastly. It outspeeds and Hypnosis misses, thankfully. Bone Club is super effective since Ghastly is poison, and there is no Levitate ability in Generation 2, so now we can face off against Crocodile at full health with no paralysis. We want consistency, so we opt for Headbutt now and outspeed. We do about 1/4 with no flinch. The rival douses us with Water Gun, and it does manageable damage. Another turn of Headbutt yields no flinch, and another Water Gun brings us deep in the orange. With our berry, however, we do see some light at the end of the tunnel. Headbutt hits and does manage to knock out Crocodile. And last and least is Zubat. It does hang on after a Headbutt, but in Generation 2, Bite is special and barely does anything. Next turn, we knock down Zubat and defeat the rival. We can head to Ilex Forest and on to Whitney and Morty with Boneless. In terms of time, we got 18 minutes for defeating Baddie 2. Not too shabby. How does our beefed up, bone-in Marowak handle the intro? We'll pick up our fully equipped Marowak at Elm's Lab, and we'll name him Bones. Note the increased base stat I'm showing for Marowak over here, and keep in mind everything else is the same. We double checked that he is in fact already holding a thick club, and there it is. Just how much carnage is Bones going to cause? Well, after we finish Elm's errand, we need to head back to Cherry Grove City and take on the first baddie battle. I will skip all the berries you can pick up since we can only use thick club for this Marowak. Let's see how the battle against Baddie and his Totodile goes. We'll go with Bone Club to start, and we miss. That 85% accuracy is going to get us sometimes. We're then hit with Leer and try Bone Club, missing yet again. Scratch only does 4, and then we hit, leaving Totodile with a sliver of health left. One more turn takes out the first baddie. That was a lot of damage from just one attack. It's a lot like Boneless's attack earlier, but he had a critical. With that in mind, we're going to go to Faulkner first before taking on Sprout Tower, just to see how much trouble, if any, Marowak has against the gym leader. We take on Faulkner at level 8, and first up for Faulkner is Pidgey. Headbutt leaves Pidgey in critical condition, and once again, we don't get hit with Mud Slap. It must be some weird AI setting that causes it to use normal type attacks against ground type Pokemon. If anybody knows, let me know. We face off against Pidgeotto now, and we're outsped. We only take 5 from Gust because of our high defense, and Headbutt does half to Pidgeotto. Next turn we take a little bit more damage but finish Faulkner at level 9. We'll skip ahead past Sprout Tower, the Slowpoke Well in Azalea Town, and head into the second gym. We will take on Bugsy now and see how much easier his battle is against our thick club. Versus Metapod, I do actually learn from my mistakes and go for Headbutt. It's enough and we're on the Kakuna. It's even less defensive, so I'm expecting a knockout and we get it. Scyther should outspeed now, and it does, but it misses with Fury Cutter. We don't get a one-hit knockout, but half damage is pretty good. Quick attack hits doing minor damage, and another Headbutt finishes Bugsy off. Nice and easy, we've secured the Hive badge. So now we'll take on the last battle before Ilex Forest. Baddie strikes back. First for Baddie is Ghastly. We go for Bone Club since Headbutt can't hit and we miss. Lick hits and we're paralyzed. With the Thick Club equipped, there's nothing we can do but hope. Lick hits first now and we're unable to move. Twice in a row now, we're unable to move. But even that's not enough, as yet again, we can't attack. This is pretty crazy the number of times we're paralyzed, but finally we hit and take down Ghastly. Maybe we'll have better luck the rest of the battle. Crocodile's Water Gun takes us to orange health, but we move and don't miss, taking it down to red. We need one more move here. I go for Headbutt for consistency and we manage to knock Crocodile out. But Zubat's next, and it has Bite, which can cause a flinch. And speaking of that, but hey, next turn, Bite does not flinch us, and a single Headbutt finishes off the baddie. A tough battle because we can't address the status condition at all. And as a result, this Marowak finishes ahead, albeit slightly at about 17 minutes, and just 1 minute faster than the Boneless Marowak. Can Boneless hang on through Morty's gym? In Ilex Forest, we catch our HM artist, Oddish, who will help us with Cut and Flash today. Since we already have Headbutt, we won't need to pick up that TM today, but at least for Boneless, I am keen on picking up Dig. I want to be as low level as possible for Whitney, but I do think we need Dig. Dig will let us be in a semi-protected state to break up her Miltank's rollout, since it will double in power each consecutive turn. Before that though, we can't forget the errands here at Goldenrod. We need to pick up the radio card, since we'll need it later to wake up Snorlax and Kanto. On the quiz here, we just need to press A a bunch of times when the answer is yes and B when the answer is no. Questions 3 and 5 are no, by the way, so don't let the choices on screen fool you. You also need the bike from the bike shop, so don't forget that. There are also some mandatory trainers downstairs in the Goldenrod Underground, so we might as well take care of the two guarding the door in front of the basement area to the right here. Alright, now that's done. Now we're at Whitney's gym. We can skip every trainer here, except for one, fun fact. First is in the top left corner here. I need to be very precise in my button press here. Okay, and now we'll work our way around and take on the only required trainer here. She has a Snubbull. We're at level 22, so it should be enough to do half. And it is, but just is. Bite does minuscule damage, and next turn, it's knocked out. And that's it. Other than Whitney, of course. We'll sneak our way around here, and after we give Boneless a berry to hold, heal up, and save, we're ready to take on Whitney. It took a little bit of extra prep, but it's all we can do without grinding up. Let's see how it goes. First is Clefairy, and we use Dig. We do outspeed, and it goes for Metronome, and gets Milk Drink. It's like Recover, so it's useless for Clefairy at full HP. And Metronome's a String Shot, which we're going to be outsped by Miltank anyway, since it has insane speed. We'll still outspeed Clefairy ourselves and Dig. Double Slap misses, and Dig takes out the Clefairy, and we're sitting at full health for Miltank. We are Ground type, so as Miltank uses Rollout, we take 1 damage initially. We Dig, so Rollout misses next turn. Dig doesn't do very much, and Miltank switches to Stomp, doing good damage. More importantly, however, we don't flinch, since Stomp does cause that, and then we dig ourselves into a hole again. You know, like the move. The second dig takes Miltank to half, but Miltank does have Milk Drake. However, we get hit with Rollout, so there's no flinch to worry about. We hit with Dig and take Miltank down to red, but it does go for Milk Drink next turn. Hopefully, we'll get some compliance here. Dig takes Miltank back to orange health, and it goes for Rollout, so it's locked in now. One more turn of Dig, then hitting Miltank is enough, and Boneless, slow and methodical approach yields the plain badge. Onward to Ecruteak. We'll check in at the Kimono Ladies, where Boneless is doing quick work. Against Umbreon, we knock it out and level up to 25, securing the move Bone Meringue. Like I mentioned earlier, it's effectively a less accurate Earthquake. Since we have Dig, I opt for Boomerang to replace Bone Club. Let's skip ahead to the Batty and Burn Tower, just to see how we'll fare against his upgraded team. First for Batty is Haunter. We don't want to miss, so I go for Dig, but it outspeeds and uses Curse. Since we're not able to knock it out yet, we take Curse damage and knock out Haunter, moving on to Crocodile. We switch to Boomerang and outspeed against Crocodile. That first Boomerang only does about a third each hit, so we'll need another turn, but Curse and then a critical Water Gun takes us to red. But a Berry gives us a glimmer of hope to hang on. I switch to Headbutt to ensure the knockout. Next is Zubat, and with a Headbutt, we do not get the one-hit knockout. Curse hits, and then Bite finishes Boneless off for its second reset. Digging first does not bode well for our chances, so we should try a different move first. On our second attempt against Haunter, we go for Boomerang, and now it uses Lick. We don't get paralyzed, and Boomerang doesn't even need both turns to take out Haunter. With nearly full health and no curse damage to worry about, Crocodile is next. Boomerang hits, and the second one crits, taking Crocodile to red. Water Gun does damage to us, but switching to Headbutt finishes Batty's ace. Next is Zubat, and Headbutt secures a flinch, and next turn we secure a knockout. Next is Magnemite, the newest member of Batty's team. We use Boomerang, which is ultra effective against the Steel and Electric type, and Batty is burned. We're almost ready for Morty, but first we need a Mint Berry. Mint Berry can cure one from sleep if held, and Boneless will need all the help it can get. Sleep from the move Hypnosis is our biggest threat in this gym. However, since every Pokemon in Morty's gym is part poison and we are ground, we'll skip ahead to his battle. We're at level 29, and the Pokemon we're worried about is Gengar. Let's take on Mortimer. First up for Morty is Ghastly. We go for Dig, and we do outspeed his first Pokemon at least. Curse misses, and Dig scares Ghastly away. Haunter should outspeed us, but we Dig and outspeed again. So next turn we knock out Haunter no problem. Against Gengar, we have no chance to outspeed. We switch to Boomerang, and then Hypnosis misses. Boomerang doesn't miss, and doesn't need 2 hits either, and Gengar is banished to the Shadow Realm. We level up to 30, and finally there's Haunter. This one is level 23, so we don't move first, but it can't do much to us with the Nightshade. Next turn we hit the Haunter, and it's spooked, as we become Morty's worst nightmare with a victory. Alright, Boneless clocks in at 35 minutes. That split was about 17 minutes. We had to find Dig, so maybe that slowed things down a little, but we'll see just how much with our thick club Marowak. A different approach I'm taking in this run is that I'll skip Dig. It should save us time at the cost of some misses with Bone Club and later Boomerang. Should be okay hopefully. With that, we are ready to face Whitney, and 3 levels lower too since we avoided some of the trainers in Dig's direction. First up is Clefairy, and we go for Headbutt. With a higher speed, we hit Take It to red and get a flinch. Next turn, Clefairy turns to dust, and we take on Whitney's beast, Miltank. We switch to Bone Club, we aren't first to move, and Rollout does 2 damage. That is more damage than Boneless sustained. When Bone Club hits, we do about a third, which is excellent. We get hit with Rollout again, and unfortunately our attack misses. Luckily Miltank next turn misses too, and we connect, taking it down to red. It goes for Milk Drink since it's no longer forced to use Rollout, and Bone Club misses again. It switches back to Rollout, so it resets to 2 damage and locks Miltank back in. Marowak's Bone Club decimates Miltank, and we need 1 more to hit. Another turn of Rollout comes, and Bone Club lands, finishing off Whitney. On to Ecruteak. We make our way to the Burn Tower to take on Batty with our enhanced Marowak. Against Batty, he'll lead with Haunter, and we still have a major threat with Curse. Since we don't outspeed, we are afflicted with Curse, but our Boomerang does the job. Next is Crocodile, and we move first with Boomerang, whacking it twice for a 1-hit knockout. Curse only works if the Pokemon isn't knocked out, so we need to keep up the momentum, which against Zubat, after switching to Headbutt, we do keep it up, and take it out in 1 shot. After leveling up, there's 1 foe left in Magnemite. We can knock it out if we move first, but instead we miss, We take a quarter of damage from Curse, but Supersonic luckily misses. Bone Club is on target, and Magnemite goes down, and Batty is defeated. At this point, we'll head straight to Morty. There's no Mint Berry since we're glued to Thick Club. Let's do this. Against Morty, we take on his first Pokemon in Ghastly. We outspeed with Boomerang and don't miss, moving on to Haunter. Once again, we outspeed and hit, and Morty sends out his last Haunter. Normally he sends out Gengar, but I'm sure he senses a disturbance coming his way. With Gengar all but left now, we do get put to sleep, and now we need some luck. Well, someone gets lucky, but it isn't me in this case, as a critical Dream Hitter hits, all but securing this Marowak's first reset. We stay soundly asleep, and we get knocked out next turn. Hoping that wasn't a sign, we'll try again immediately. We take on Ghastly, and take Ghastly out in the first turn. The stronger Haunter comes out and locks us in with Mean Look, but that's all we can ask for. We take it down. The second Haunter is released, and it does outspeed. Hypnosis misses, however, and we'll need that streak to continue for Gengar here. It uses Hypnosis, and we got what we needed with a miss. Boomerang dooms Gengar, and Morty is defeated. That took about 29 minutes, even with the reset. We now have a 6-minute gap between our Marowak. It's not like Boneless Marowak is bad, it's just that Thick Club turns Marowak into a machine. We'll see what trials our underdog Marowak faces in the next 3 gyms. Looking ahead, we've got Chuck, Jasmine, and Price. There's not much to show in Olivine or at the Lighthouse, but now we've arrived in Cianwood City to take on Chuck's gym and get the medicine for Jasmine. We'll head inside to face off against Chuck's trainers. First is the Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan duo. The first trainer uses Hitmonlee, and since we don't outspeed, we get decent damage from Double Kick. Headbutt isn't enough to take it out, but we do move first next turn. I guess it was a speed tie. With Hitmonlee taken care of, we don't have any time to prepare against Hitmonchan. It's a little more defensive and knows some elemental punches. We do move first, and Boomerang doesn't miss, but it doesn't knock it out either. Then we're hit with Ice Punch, and of course, we're frozen. Yeah, that's not good. Fire Punch could unfreeze us, but since we're weak to Ice, I don't think we'll be that lucky today. It does eventually switch to Comet Punch, but we never get out of our frozen state, and Boneless picks up reset number 3. That's all good, we'll try again. Since we are in a speed tie, the Hitmonlee moves first this time, and Jump Kick does the good damage. We switch to Dig, and Hitmonlee's Jump Kick takes a sliver away from its Rash. Dig does well, but it's not enough, and Double Kick takes us down to nearly half. We're not even in a better spot than we were last time for the next battle, that's for sure. With Trainer Yoshi defeated, we face off against Hitmonchan. Boomerang hits and takes it down to red, and this turn we get hit with a Comet Punch instead of an Ice Punch. So luckily, things tilted in Boneless Marowak's favor, and we can move on with the rest of the gym. Not much will pose a challenge until Chuck himself with Primate, and more importantly Poliwrath. Poliwrath does have Surf, and should be faster than us. It's gonna hit hard. How hard? I guess we'll see now. First up for Chuck is Primate. We go for Boomerang, but before we hit, it uses Fury Swipes and misses. As do we. So, Chuck switches over to Rage, but only does 4 damage. Boomerang, however, does way more than 4 damage, and we move on to Poliwrath. We do move first, and hit with Boomerang, taking Poliwrath to half. Not bad, not bad. Unfortunately, it uses Surf, and Surf does incredible damage due to a critical. We've now picked up our 4th reset overall, and the 2nd reset in Chuck's gym. What is this world coming to? On the next attempt, we take on the Primate again. Like before, it misses with Fury Swipes, but we instead connect with a 1-turn knockout Boomerang. Against Poliwrath, we must outspeed since we move first again and get a crit on the first part of Boomerang, which takes Poliwrath to orange. Instead of Surf, it tries to put us to sleep and fails, so Boomerang knocks it out and Chuck has officially picked the wrong fight. I don't think Surf is normally a 1-hit knockout, but I'm not going to hang around and find out. We need to get going. Since we have ground moves in our arsenal, we can go ahead and try to face Jasmine. I think it ought to be okay to see what happens. So we get Fly from Chuck's wife outside the gym and fly back to Olivine to drop off the medicine and face off against Jasmine. She's got 2 Magnemite and a Steelix. First for her is a Magnemite. Normally it could paralyze us, but we are immune to electric attacks today, and we outspeed with Dig. We knock out the Pokemon and Jasmine cuts to the chase with Steelix. This bad boy has 200 base defense, so it might take a few turns. And we're lower level. Boomerang hits and takes Steelix past the halfway point. Iron Tail is a strong attack with 100 base power and takes us down nearly a third. Before our next attack, Jasmine uses Hyper Potion, replenishing Steelix's health. We don't miss next turn, and we're right back where we began. Another try, and we don't miss. Steelix is expired, and 1 Magnemite remains. We still outspeed Magnemite and dig deep for the consistency. It goes down nice and easy next turn, and Jasmine's steel needs refining. After picking up the scale at the Lake of Rage and taking out the Rocket Hideout in Mahogany Town, we can battle Price. Ground type is weak to Ice, so things could get frosty at the 7th gym. First for Price is Seal, and it is not fast enough as Bonemerang takes it out. Against Dewgong, I do really want to avoid taking too many ice attacks, so I switch to Dig for consistency. We move first, so Dewgong misses and Dig hits, but it's not a one-hit knockout. It responds with an Aurora Beam and takes us down to 85 HP. Another round of digging and hitting takes out Dewgong, leveling us up to level 39. We don't need False Swipe, and now we are left with a Piloswine. Bonemerang from Marowak doesn't miss, but that's not as much damage as I'd like. We do live to see another day, since Piloswine went for miss and Price heals. Bonemerang hits, so we need one more to land. Next turn, it does in fact sweep Piloswine away, and Price is on discount today. Alright, seriously though, Boneless has defeated 7 gym leaders in about 55 minutes. It's not being slowed down by too much yet. How quickly can the Thick Club Marowak sweep through Johto? First up is Chuck. With our boosted attack, we shouldn't have too many issues, right? Well, I go for Rage since I thought it would build up with Fury Swipes. Instead, Primeape outspeeds and deals a critical hit Karate Chop. Ouch. Rage hits for about a third, and then Primeape does go for Fury Swipes, and misses. Next turn, Rage hits for a critical, and I decide to switch to Headbutt. Finally, Fury Swipes lands, but we can't take advantage of it now for Rage. Rage's power increases each time you're attacked, including on multi-hit attacks, as long as you're using Rage. Better luck next time, I suppose. For Poliwrath, we do outspeed with a Headbutt, hoping for a flinch, but no luck. Surf hits and nearly decimates us, but we hang on. Headbutt has enough range next turn, and Chuck was barely defeated. That was largely my fault, but hey, Rage would have been awesome. Next up is Jasmine, and we should have less trouble here than we did at Chuck. First up for Jazz is Magnemite. We go for Bone Club and it lands, taking it out. Moving on, now we get to face Steelix. We switch to Bonemerang, striking for massive damage. Jasmine heals with a Hyper Potion, and we miss. Next turn, we do strike twice, but Iron Tail takes us deep in the orange. As long as we don't miss with Bonemerang, we should be good. We hit and move on to Jasmine's last Pokemon. We don't miss on Magnemite either, and honestly, not the easiest Jasmine battle. It definitely could have been better. One battle we won't have to worry about is Price. First is Seal, and we seal the deal with a single Bonemerang. On Dewgong, another Bonemerang makes it more like Dewgone. Finally, there's Piloswine, and now we're just piling it on as Price is slashed. Alrighty then, Bones clocks in at 47 minutes. Bones is 8 minutes ahead of Boneless. Not too much of a gap, but it is getting wider. Will Boneless face some challenges at Claire and then the Elite Four? We arrive at Blackthorn City and do some final preparations with Boneless. Since the biggest threat other than Claire is Paralysis, and seeing that we're ground type and immune to Paralysis, we will skip ahead to the gym leader battle. Claire has 3 Dragonair and a Kingdra. The Dragonair will be an appetizer for the main opponent, Kingdra. Kingdra is no joke, and you'll see why in just a second. First for Claire's Dragonair. We do outspeed, and each segment of Bonemerang does half, so Dragonair is down. On the second Dragonair, we can't miss, and we don't, so it goes down. At this point, Claire sends out Kingdra. It does not go down in one turn, as it is left with about a third. We then get drowned in Surf, but Boneless hangs on for one more turn at least. Now, something weird happens here. I go for Dig expecting a Hyper Potion, but instead Claire doesn't use one. Weird. As a result, we dig back up and take out the Kingdra. We level up, but there's still one Dragonair left. We go for Bonemerang and miss. Dragon Breath could paralyze, but we come out unscathed and Bonemerang finishes the last gym leader Pokemon. Marowak is headed to the Indigo Plateau. We're only at level 48. I think we'll have some groundwork to make up before Boneless will be ready to face the challenges ahead. It's unable to hit hard enough to take care of not only the biggest challenges, but even someone the likes of Will. Will has some Xatu that are flying type, so we can't hit even with our stronger ground type moves. Then there's Slowbro, which is not going down quickly either. Past Will, I think we can take Koga and Bruno, but then there's Karen. Umbreon will be able to get a few turns of Sand Attack on us if we can't hit hard enough. We'll also be outsped by Gengar and Houndoom. Finally, that leaves Lance, and there will be some challenges with all of his Pokemon. Gyarados has Surf, his 3 Dragonite can be deadly, especially the one with Blizzard. Aerodactyl is fast, and Charizard can hit hard with Flamethrower. Boneless has an uphill battle, but we'll take it slow until we can overcome the dangers ahead. Last but not least, there's the final baddie battle. At this point, we've taught Return to Boneless and collected the TM for Earthquake at Victory Road. Let's do it. First up to bat for baddie is Sneasel. We are level 51, so we will outspeed, and Earthquake does massive damage. There's Feraligatr next, and I'm not expecting a knockout. Earthquake connects, taking it to the orange, but it only has Water Gun at this point for some reason, so we can't take care of it next turn. Against Golbat, we switch to Return, and don't have just quite enough to knock it out, but it goes for Wing Attack. But I'm glad we weren't hit with Confusion. We take care of it next turn and face off against Kadabra. We move first, and Return is enough to take it out. 2 Pokemon left, and first is Haunter. Now we switch back to Earthquake, and it's down, where we face off against baddie's final Pokemon, Magneton. Earthquake will take care of it in one turn, and so, baddie has learned his lesson that hacking in a level 5 Marowak is the key to being a successful Pokemon trainer. Well, like I said a few minutes ago, Boneless is going to have a tough time right now. We do have some last minute shopping for potions, and now we're ready for our first try. We've saved up, and now let's see how far we can make it. The first member of Elite Four is Will, and he sends out Xatu, a Psychic and Flying type Pokemon. We move first with Return, and it takes Xatu down to red. On our next turn, we knock out Xatu, and now we face off against Jinx. Jinx can put us to sleep if it moves first or survives an attack, but today, we'll move first, and it can't survive Earthquake. Exeggutor can survive much more than Earthquake, and I accidentally click on Boomerang, which doesn't even do half. To make matters worse, it uses Reflect, which raises the team's defense for 5 turns. Since Ground and Normal are based on the attack stat, that is not ideal to say the least. We switch to Return, doing about a third, and it uses Psychic, which takes us right above half health. Another Return is not enough either, so we take another Psychic. I'm thinking things are pretty grim here. Although Return does finish Exeggutor here, now we face off against Slowbro. I warned you about him earlier. Well, the Boomerang does about a quarter. Yeah, it uses Sidekick, and Marowak has dug its grave. There is something we can do here to bolster our damage. If you talk to this old guy at the Indigo Plateau Pokemon Center, he'll transport you back to Johto. Don't worry, we can fly back here once we surf back to Kanto from New Bark Town. From here, we can fly to Goldenrod City. Of course, a trainer I skipped earlier is in our sights, so we need to take him on first. I don't know what this kid is expecting, taking on a level 53 Marowak with a level 14 Psyduck, but hey, people are crazy these days. Anyways, we can surf by the water here, and let me throw out a repel real quick, and we can surf down here to this alcove. In it are 3 trainers, and they're pretty strong when you first get surf, but they're not too bad if you waited this long. So we'll just skip them to save you, the viewer, some time. Once you defeat the last trainer, she'll give us a Soft Sand. Soft Sand is one of the many items in Generation 2 games that will slightly boost the attack of specific types, in this case ground moves. There are various methods to acquire these items, but I like Soft Sand since it will always be in this location. Some other type boosting moves are sometimes based on the day of the week. We will only get a 10% boost from this item, but anything will help at this point. We will try the Will Battle again. I'm not expecting to make it much further than the first time, but it's worth a shot just to see how things shake out. Things start off like last time with Xatu, where we move first with Return, and it's not enough. After taking a Psychic, the next Pokemon Jinx is not going to last very long. Now, against Exeggutor, I'm looking to avenge my boneheaded decision. Go for Return instead. It too decides for Psychic instead of Reflect. Well, unfortunately, that was a critical, so we're pretty much back in the same place as last time, heading into Slowbro, minus the Reflect, I guess. Boomerang does assuring damage, but a Psychic from Slowbro sends us back as we need a grind. After about 6 minutes in real life, we make it back at level 57. I'm thinking some of those lingering Pokemon, like Xatu, should be one-hits now, and on the first attack with Return, it is. Then there's Jinx, and nothing changes, it is still a one-hit knockout. Exeggutor, instead of a Reflect or Psychic, uses Leech Seed now for some reason, so we get to knock it out and make it to Slowbro at full health. When Slowbro comes out, we hit with Boomerang, and it gets taken down to orange health. Leech Seed will take a little bit, and then Psychic takes a little bit more, but we're still in the green, and one more turn knocks out the Slowbro. Will's last Pokemon, Xatu, comes out, and it goes down in a single turn. Will has been defeated, and we're heading to Koga. After we heal up, we can head to the next room. Koga shouldn't be a problem. Each Pokemon is either weak or neutral to Earthquake, except Crobat. I think we should hang on. First up is Gyarados. Unfortunately, I can't take my own advice and use Return. It goes down.
On Venomoth, I have to deliberate for a second since at the time I also couldn't remember if it was flying type or not. So I stick with Return, and thankfully it is enough to finish Venomoth. Next out for Koga is Fortress. We use Earthquake doing good damage, then Fortress uses Spikes. So we make it through without taking any damage. 2 more Pokemon and Koga calls on his ace, Crobat. We can't outspeed, and it goes for double team. It doesn't evade though, and we take it to critical health. Koga uses a full restore next. We miss, and then we're hit with Wing Attack. We don't miss twice in a row though with Return, and Crobat can't land a Toxic. Not like it really would have mattered, because we finish it off next turn. Finally for Koga is Muck. A single whack from Boomerang takes it all the way down to 0. With Koga out of the way, let's heal up, and then we can head on to Bruno. Remember that Bruno did receive a massive upgrade this generation. He won't be good today, however. Marowak is ground type and matches up well to everything with its high defense and Bruno's fighting types being neutral ground. But hey, that's all in theory. Let's test out that theory now. For Bruno, the first of the Hitmon trio is Hitmontop. It's the most defensive of the 3. I'm not expecting a total knockout. We go for Earthquake and knock it out, however, due to a critical. Hitmonchan is next, and it's got decent defense. But an Earthquake with no critical is more than enough. Finally, there is Hitmonlee, the least defensive of the bunch, and we switch to Boomerang. We outspeed, and the first Boomerang lands, so Hitmonlee will not hang on. Machamp is the scariest Bruno Pokemon, and an Earthquake from Marowak does land, but Machamp does not go down. It uses Cross Chop, which has 100 base power. It only does a quarter to us with our good defense though. I'm expecting a max potion, so I switch to Return, which after Bruno heals, takes Machamp back under half. One more Return finishes Machamp off, and last and least is Onyx. It is what it is. One day, you will get your redemption, but not today. Bruno bites the dust. That Cross Chop from Machamp did some damage that we can heal with another Hyper Potion. So, next up is Karen. She will be a major threat. Umbreon has Confuse Ray and Sand Attack. Sand Attack is worse since it can linger the entire matchup. Even more difficult is that Umbreon's defenses are incredible with 110 base defense. We won't knock it out in one hit with Boneless. Enough talk, it's Karen time. We'll face the Umbreon first. We try to Boomerang our way through Umbreon. It's good damage, but not enough. We get blasted with Sand Attack. We use Earthquake and don't miss. Maybe we can run through the rest of the gauntlet. Vileplume is next, and it can hurt us with super effective Petal Dance. We try Boomerang, and here we go. A big fat miss. Petal Dance does the third. We switch to Dig, and after digging the hole, we don't miss and take Vileplume under half. A secondary effect of Petal Dance is Confusion, so we may get some luck. We do this time, and we dig again. Another hit from Confusion takes Vileplume to red, and then we miss. Vileplume does have Moonlight. It only works okay if Sunny Day has been used. Yeah, it's not good. We switch to Return, and miss, then get paralyzed. That's just fantastic. Well, now we can't move first, and Vileplume heals a little bit more. Then Return misses. Another Petal Dance slices through Boneless, and we're paralyzed, unable to move. We get hit with another Petal Dance, which didn't knock us out just yet, and we do knock out the Vileplume. We have no chance to make it past this point, even with something like Murkrow. It's bad, but not that bad. One Feint Attack feints the Marowak. We'll try that again, since that was really unlucky. Since we managed to get past Will, Koga, and Bruno without too many issues, we can skip ahead to Karen's battle. I do not save between members, but I'll save you, the viewer, some time. Umbreon is out first, and we dig a hole. After a round of Sand Attack miss, Dig strikes Umbreon and takes it down to red from a critical hit. Sand Attack still hits us though. After thinking for a few seconds, I switch to Return. We take out the Umbreon, but troubles lie ahead. Against Vileplume, I switch it back to Dig. We avoid a Stun Spore, and Dig connects, taking Vileplume under half. Vileplume responds with a good bit of damage from Petal Dance. Switching to Return, we don't miss and knock out the Vileplume in a better position than last time. Let's see how far we can get. Against Murkrow, we have to use Return since it's Flying type, but we miss. Feint Attack isn't too painful, then we miss Return again. This time, Feint Attack from Murkrow does excellent damage due to a critical. Yet again, Return misses. Feint Attack takes Boneless to red. We need a hit here, and then we get it, securing a knockout, and moving on to Karen's next Pokemon. Next is Gengar, and it does outspeed. Let's see what happens. We switch to Earthquake, but it uses Lick, thankfully, and we don't get paralyzed, and even better, Earthquake dismantles Gengar. This takes us to the final Pokemon, Houndoom. We should outspeed, but we're liable to miss, which we do. Flamethrower ends Marowak on the doorstep of the champion battle. Man, oh man, we were so close to victory. Boneless is right on the edge. We have a path forward. We just need to execute. If we can't get past Karen this time, it will be time to grind once again. Umbreon, the bane of our existence. You won't get the best of us this time. As Earthquake takes Umbreon to the orange, it uses Sand Attack, and it misses. Oh yeah, baby, let's go. We'll use Return and knock out the Umbreon. Hopefully the rest of the battle goes smoothly, but it's not like we outspeed everything. At least first is Vileplume. We use Return, and then it paralyzes us. Okay, now we definitely won't outspeed anything. Next Return does land, and we're moving on to Murkrow. It uses Feint Attack, doing about 21 damage, and then we're paralyzed. Great. Then another Feint Attack lands, but our Return does knock it down. Gengar is next, and it goes for Curse. Thankfully, I guess. Earthquake does go through, and Gengar's health is cut all the way down. Last, but definitely not least, is Houndoom. It uses Flamethrower, which takes Marowak down to orange. Can Earthquake hit? Yes, it can. Houndoom is doomed, and Karen has been defeated. Karen was tough to get through. We'll definitely need to restore Marowak's health and cure its status. In addition, I want to teach it Iron Tail and Rest. Iron Tail is good for Aerodactyl. It's a 100 base power attack. Not the most accurate, but it should be okay. Then I want to teach Rest. Marowak has good defenses, so Rest can help in crucial situations. Plus, there's a lot of Hyper Beams on Lance's team, and Rest can be really good during those recharge turns. Might as well get into it. Lance time. First for Lance is Gyarados. Once I get in battle, I realize a major mistake I made. I didn't restore Return's power points. Well, I don't have much choice right now, so I use Return, and Gyarados is taken below half. It uses Rain Dance, which is fine for us, as one more Return takes it down. I'll have to switch to Iron Tail to attack everything else except Charizard, so not all is lost. Next for Lance is one of his 3 Dragonite. This one might know Blizzard. While I sit and stare at my mistake, I do eventually come to and choose Iron Tail. It's just enough to do half, and this Dragonite does in fact know Blizzard, but it misses. Next turn we go for Iron Tail again, and it makes contact, taking out Lance's first Dragonite. On to the next Dragonite, we continue with Iron Tail, and the streak of good luck continues. Iron Tail gets us a critical hit. Dragonite uses Twister, which is a very bad move, but it also gets a critical. We go for the knockout with Iron Tail, but it misses while Hyper Beam lands. We try again and miss again. While Dragonite recharges, I decide to rest so that we can have a little more hit points going into the next Pokemon. Next Hyper Beam hits, then a recharge, then another hit. After waking up and missing with Iron Tail, I decide to rest up again, and hopefully we can get an optimal scenario. We get hit with a Hyper Beam again, Dragonite then needs to recharge, and then it misses. Excellent. We wake up and Iron Tail doesn't miss. Now we're on to Aerodactyl. It outspeeds and uses Ancient Power, which is more than fine. Then we use Iron Tail and it knocks the old bird out. Next out for Lance is Charizard. We're going to use that Return we've saved up for now. It takes Charizard down to orange health. Flamethrower hits and takes us just above half. We have to switch to Iron Tail now, even though it's not very effective. It hits and takes out the Charizard. Finally for Lance is his level 50 Dragonite. We do outspeed and Iron Tail lands, taking Dragonite down to half. Excellent. Even better, it goes for Mist, for whatever reason. Finally, we use Iron Tail, and it lands. Oh yeah. Wait, what? You've got to be kidding me. Dragonite uses Outrage and a critical hit? What luck. Well, let's try to rely on less luck for the next round. I level up just one more, so that when we face Karen, we're at level 60. We got lucky with her last battle, so she's still not going to be a cakewalk. I learned from my mistakes on PP management and double check before her battle. Let's do it. First is Umbreon, and we use Boomerang. This takes the Umbreon to red, and Sand Attack blinds us. We miss an Earthquake and it lands Feint Attack. Thankfully not Confuse Ray, so next turn we can take it out. We level up, and next is Vileplume. It goes down to a single Earthquake. Out for Karen next is Murkrow, and a single Return takes care of it. So far so good. On Houndoom, we could take some serious damage if we don't hit, but we do, so it's taken care of. Finally there's Gengar, and then we destroy it. It might be a coincidence, but we did level up there, and didn't miss any attacks. Maybe it's just luck, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good for what's ahead. I need to heal, teach Marowak some new moves, and then manage his PP so we can actually use Return at Lance. Once that's all done, we're ready. First for the champion is Gyarados, and we move first with Return. Gyarados goes for Rain Dance, and one more turn takes care of his first Pokemon. Up next is Dragonite, and we outspeed with Return. It tries to use Blizzard and misses again. That's pretty lucky, and hey, Dragonite 1 is gonzo. After we level up, we face Lance's second Dragonite. One turn from us takes it right to half, and a Hyper Beam lasers us for 39 hit points. We're hanging in there. Return finishes the second Dragonite. Up next is Aerodactyl, and it uses Hyper Beam this time while also missing. Very good, very good. Let's not miss with Iron Tail and finish off the prehistoric Pokemon. Excellent. Charizard is next, and we can't knock it out. It will be 2-hit knockout. A Flamethrower burns through a lot of Marowak's hit points, thanks to her critical. So now there's a choice to make. I have to heal up sometime, but I know that Flamethrower will churn through whatever we will get back. Outrage and Hyper Beam are more inconsistent on Dragonite, so I'm going to try Return here. It's not guaranteed we can win, since we have to worry about crits, but it gives us a better chance than using Rest now. So out comes Dragonite, and we drift away into a deep slumber. Dragonite uses Outrage, which ended Boneless last time, but this time it only does regular damage. Okay, we're still asleep, but we need to set up the right move slot under Return. Then another Outrage lands, again for regular damage. Another turn of sleep, and now Dragonite is confused after using Outrage too many times. It hits itself. Very nice. Let's wake up and see what happens. We use Return, and okay. It's down to orange. Then it hits itself again. We might have it in grasp, but then Lance uses a full restore, cutting off our momentum. Return does take it down to orange health. Last time, 2 turns of Iron Tail wasn't enough, but this time, 2 turns of Return is indeed enough to get Marowak across the finish line. Lance has been defeated. Alright, that was a very fun battle. A good run through the Elite Four. Very refreshing compared to Scyther and Scizor. We finish in about an hour and 56 minutes. That's pretty long. There was a lot of grinding involved once we arrived at the Indigo Plateau, since I did try to avoid a lot of the battles throughout the game. We also picked up a few resets along the way here with some tough matchups. How much better can Bones fare against Claire and the Elite Four? Things have been breezy for Bones throughout the first 7 badges. Even the trainers at Claire's gym are no match. It is possible for Bones to face some problems with Claire like Boneless did. Let's see how the final Johto gym leader goes. First for Claire will be her 2 Dragonair. On the first, we use Return and it goes down quickly. Similarly, the next one comes and goes. Now we face off against Kingdra. Well, we don't want to risk too much because it has Surf, so I opt for Return. It's not quite enough. We're hit with Smokescreen, and then Claire uses a Hyper Potion. Then we miss. We do hit on the next, and we're really close to finishing the Kingdra. We can manage a Surf if it's not a critical, and it isn't, so we get another chance. Alright, well, we just missed. Bones gets slammed with Surf, and picks up reset number 2. I decide we need to take a small risk. In our rematch against Claire, we will try something here on the first Dragonair. I go for Rage. Since we're immune to Thunder Wave, it goes for Surf. However, I'm not going to continue using Rage. We knock out the Dragonair next turn with Return, and then we'll take out the next with another Return as well. I'm hoping that the Kingdra will go for Surf instead of Smokescreen since we have less HP. We use Return, and it's not enough, and then Kingdra uses Surf. It's really close to knocking us out, but it didn't. Claire heals, and then we use Return twice in a row, and we don't miss either time since we didn't have a Smokescreen lowering our accuracy. Alright, not bad. Bones picks up the 8th badge. My logic on Rage was betting on the fact that a critical or range from Surf would give us better odds to win than taking a Smokescreen. It worked, so let's head to the Indigo Plateau with Bones. It's pretty much the same strategy as Boneless. We need Earthquake, but we won't even need Iron Tail. We have an easier path to victory than Boneless at the Elite Four. With the Thick Club, there won't be as much grinding involved. Let's battle the last baddie. We're going to face off against Sneasel first. With Earthquake in our arsenal, we'll rumble with that. We do outspeed, and Sneasel is not bulky, so we move on. Feraligatr comes out, and we move first. Then it gets consumed by an Earthquake. Golbat is next, and we switch to Return. Golbat can't hold on, so now we face off against Kadabra. Might as well call it Uno Dos because it disappears without a trace. Magneton needs to pull itself together because it goes down in 1 turn. Haunter, it should be a Gengar. There's no chance here. Baddie is beat down. Look, Marowak with a Thick Club here is pretty overpowered. Baddie's team is laughably bad at this point in the game. Imagine if you had a Gengar, Alakazam, and Crobat. That would be interesting. We need to take on the Elite Four to really see a true test. Let's keep in mind that at this point, Bones is level 51, and Boneless was actually level 52 starting out. Will made Boneless have to reset a few times and then start grinding. For Bones, I'm gonna say it. If there's a will, there's a way. First for Will is Xatu. We have to go with Return, and it knocks it out. Breath of fresh air compared to where we started with Boneless. Let the sweep begin. Jinx is destroyed. Executor, even being a bit defensive, cannot withstand the power of friendship. For Slowbro, we actually do probably need to switch, but Earthquake causes unsustainable levels of damage to it. Finally, Will decides his Xatu need another brush with Bones, and that's it for Will.
Since we didn't take any damage, and we still have plenty of PP, we're going to head straight to Koga. I got a feeling this will feel like the battle with Will. Gyarados is out first, and it's down from single return. Venomoth is a little better, but not enough. Return finishes the buck. We level up to 53, and I talked earlier about Bone Rush, but we're going to stick with Earthquake for now. Fortress comes out next, and it could hang on. However, a single Earthquake takes over the defensive Pokemon. Wow, okay. Now we have Crobat, so we could take damage here, but instead, it goes for double team. Well, Return lands and brings Crobat down to Earth. Finally, there's Muck. Earthquake is super effective, and we should outspeed here. We do, finishing Koga. We took no damage, so let's try to make it 3 for 3 with Bruno. Again, we're still good on PP, so we head straight to his room. Let the battle begin. First is Hitmontop, and it could use Quick Attack. Bruno, I think, sees the inevitable, so he lets us move first with Earthquake, and it goes down. Hitmonchan comes out, and it doesn't use Mach Punch, so an Earthquake takes it down. Looks like we can go 3 for 3. Hitmonlee is next and leaves the playing field very quickly. We level up to 54, and Machamp might be scary, but with Bones, we send it to the graveyard. Onyx is... Onyx. 3 for 3, no damage. Let's try Karen. Can we go 4 for 4? For Karen, her first Pokemon, Umbreon, was a nuisance for Boneless, but Bones tells it to pound sand with an Earthquake. Next is Vileplume, but a neutral Earthquake overpowers it. Murkrow is not defensive at all. We switch to Return and knock it out. With a critical, but I don't think it matters. Houndoom is next, and we switch back to Earthquake. It actually does outspeed, and that Flamethrower does massive damage from a critical. Even so, we hang on, and Earthquake is enough. Well, we can't make it all the way without taking damage. More importantly now is that there's Gengar. It could put us to sleep. It does outspeed, but uses Lick. We don't get paralyzed. And Earthquake means that Karen's last Pokemon is knocked out, and we can move on to the champion. That was more of a challenge. However, Bones took those hits like a champ. We need to heal up, restore some power points, and then I need to teach Rest in place of Bone Meringue. Alright, now that's done, let's battle the champ. First for Lance is Gyarados. We used Return and Outspeed taking it out, so it didn't even get a chance to use Rain Dance or Surf. Good. Lance sends his first of 3 Dragonite. We have to use Return, and it's just so close to taking it out. It uses Blizzard, and yikes, it lands. We don't get frozen or knocked out though. We take the first Dragonite out next turn. I wonder if Return was a range, so instead of resting, I stick with Return. It still isn't enough. It goes for Hyper Beam, but with no critical, we can manage. Since it needs to recharge next turn, I send Bones to sleep. While we're asleep, I think we'll open up on our Awakening with a Rage. We get hit with a Hyper Beam, and we rest one more turn while it recharges and wake up and finish off the Dragonite. Next is Aerodactyl, and it will outspeed. We get hit with a Wing Attack, doing small amounts of damage. Our Return, even though it's not super effective, does take Aerodactyl below half health. I switch to Rest as Aerodactyl lasers us with Hyper Beam. It's a bit more damage, yet manageable. We get a turn of recharge, and then hit with another Hyper Beam. It recharges again, and we wake up, connecting a Return and returning Aerodactyl to the Jurassic period. We level up, and now we face Charizard. It does outspeed and does good damage with Flamethrower. It won't survive a Return, however, and we move on to Lance's final Pokemon. His level 50 Dragonite will hang on after a hit from Return, but as long as it doesn't critical, we will secure the dub. It hits us with Hyper Beam, and it got a critical. Jeez. Well, that's disappointing. I think victory is in reach, so we'll run through the Elite Four again off screen, and I'll roll the footage after the end of Karen's battle. Let's rematch against Lance. Gyarados is first, and like last time, it will go down to a single hit from Bones. I must be getting deja vu here, because after Lance's first Dragonite comes out, we land a Return that is just on the edge. Then we're hit with a Blizzard. That's nerve-wracking, but we don't get frozen. We knock it out and face the next Dragonite. Here, I'm really hoping for a range to get the knockout, but it's just not happening. It's alright, we're hit with Twister, and I switch to Rest. We get hit with Hyper Beam, Rest, and Recharge, then another Hyper Beam. I think we need to stall out for a minute, so I rest again. Then, we get some luck. Hyper Beam misses. So, once we're finished resting, we awake and finish with a Return. Now, we face Aerodactyl. I really want to ensure a victory, so we need to stall for a bit. We get hit with a Hyper Beam, and a Return takes Aerodactyl to orange health. I send Bones to sleep, and we're hit with 2 Hyper Beams while resting. So, we head back to sleep. This time, we're only hit with 1 Hyper Beam on this sleep period, but I'd like to see the Aerodactyl run out of Hyper Beams. I can only use 5 of them. This time, it only uses 1 Hyper Beam before having to switch to Wing Attack. Excellent. Now we go for 1 more rest, just so we can maximize our HP. As we get hit with Wing Attack, I'm liking where this is going, but then we're hit with an Ancient Power that crits, then another Wing Attack, leaving us pretty much where we were before.
Alright then, let's move on. A return finishes Aerodactyl. Charizard is next, and Flamethrower takes us down to 51 HP, but we knock it out with return. Now we're on the last Pokemon, the one that got us last time. So at this point, I have no choice but to use Rest. And then something weird happens here. I get hit with Outrage, which does 48 HP. Keep that in mind. Now notice the timer in the corner here stops. My software bugged out and hung the recording for a few seconds at a critical time, so I apologize. But you, the viewer, can piece together what happens here. We get hit with another Outrage for another 54 HP, so a little bit more than the first move. Since Outrage will cause confusion, I'm going to bank on that benefit and use Rest again here. And what you're seeing is raw. After getting hit with Outrage again, off screen, so please let the frames catch up, we took 46 damage, leaving us deep in the red. Well, we wake up and go straight back to sleep. It's very strange that this happened, I'm really sorry. Back to the regular scheduled programming. Well, now Dragonite hit itself in confusion from Outrage, and we can reap the benefits. Unfortunately, it does snap out of confusion next turn and hits us for 50. We get hit again, and now I just want to go for it. When we wake up, I stick with return and it leaves Dragonite with a sliver. Dragonite switches to Hyper Beam and takes us down to a sliver as well, but it's not enough. We go next and take out the Dragonite. Bones has defeated the champion and the Elite Four. Without grinding, Bones had some challenges, but it defeats this part of the game in an hour and 24 minutes. That was 31 minutes faster than Boneless, our Marowak without its signature item. But hold on, we've got something very important coming up. Kanto. We're going to stick with Bones and see how things go after collecting the next 7 badges. How quickly can Bones handle Blue and Red? Bones, after facing a serious challenge from Lance, cruises through the 7 badges of Kanto. We're at Viridian City and approaching Blue's gym. He's a step up from the other Kanto gyms, so we shall see how much trouble Blue can give Bones. First for Blue is Pidgeotto. It's at level 56 and we're only at level 64. We do outspeed and our return does plenty of damage. Next is Gyarados, and I make a bad mistake here. I go for Earthquake for some reason. I'm pretty sure I knew it was Flying type, but a Rain Dance is used instead of an attacking move. We switch to Return and knock Gyarados out. After Gyarados, we take on Exeggutor. It's defensive and Earthquake is not effective. So when we use Return, it's left at critical health. It goes to Leech Seed, which only takes effect if we don't knock out the Pokemon. Well, Blue uses a full restore. Once we get the knockout here on Exeggutor, we're gonna lose some hit points. And it doesn't go down, so we will lose a little. Blue must have stocked up because he uses another full restore. Come on. Next turn, Exeggutor is fried after taking a return from Bones. Blue sends out Alakazam after Exeggutor, and it should outspeed us. We stick with return, but Alakazam takes a chunk from us using Sidekick. Not having leftovers is really making this battle a bit anxiety-inducing. Then Blue sends out Arcanine. I doubt we'll outspeed here. We take another big hit, this time from Flamethrower, and we're left in critical condition. At least we didn't get burned, or things would probably end here. Marowak's Earthquake powers through Arcanine, and finally there's Rhydon. It is quite defensive, but we will outspeed, and Stab super effective Thick Club Marowak Earthquake will be enough to end the battle with Blue. Smell you later, buddy. Well, that battle was really eye-opening. Blue is not normally the most difficult battle, but that's thanks to leftovers. Without leftovers and slow speed, Bones had major issues keeping up with the Gauntlet. Blue was kind of annoying with some of the full restores too, but still we were about 8 levels higher, give or take, than most of Blue's Pokemon. We can head to Mount Silver to take on Red, but I mean, if Blue was a challenge at that level gap, Red will be around the level of Marowak, even with rare candies. And Red's Pokemon are all good, including Pikachu. That's right. We'll head to Mount Silver and try a battle out with Red just to show you how far we can make it. After we spend our rare candies, we'll take on Red. First for Red is Pikachu, and it's level 81, and we're level 75 after rare candies. Pikachu moves first and uses Charm. It's a move that sharply lowers your attack, or cuts it in half essentially. I go for Rage hoping it can ramp up our attack, but the bad thing is we have to keep using Rage. Well, our first Rage doesn't do anything, but it uses Quick Attack. Alright, the next Rage takes it to Orange. Another Quick Attack builds up our Rage enough to take it down, but now Red sends out Venusaur. Well, it's not going to attack us, except with Solar Beam. It even outspeeds here, so yeah. Our Rage does a 5th. Okay, Solar Beam totally blasts Bones to 0. Rage isn't going to work. Is there anything we can do? Well, against Pikachu again, Red uses Charm on Marowak. Return thankfully is enough to take care of the Pikachu, but then he sends Venusaur out next. Here goes nothing. Venusaur moves first again, taking in Sun for a Solar Beam. Earthquake does do over half, but that's not going to work. Solar Beam takes Marowak out back again thanks to a critical. It is what it is, level 75 isn't going to be enough today, ladies and gentlemen.
Luckily in Kanto, I've skipped almost every optional trainer here. We can head to Fuchsia City, and south is a boardwalk area with tons of trainers. We'll try and clear everyone out here as quickly as possible to save time, and try red later. After a bunch of grinding, we're now at level 79. Surely this is enough to get us over the line? As the battle with red begins, we cross the 2-hour real-time marker. We use return against Pikachu, and wouldn't you believe it, charm fails. Oh, heck yes, let's get it. We knock out the Pikachu, and now we face Venusaur. We will switch to Earthquake here, and thanks to our grinding, we outspeed and take it out in one shot. Blastoise is up next, and we are also able to take it down with a single Earthquake. I'm loving this. Well, now we've got Espeon to worry about, and it's faster than Pikachu. Well, we switch to return to save up for Snorlax, and it goes for a Reflect. Ugh. This isn't good, as it will last about 5 turns. We then take a massive Psychic from Espeon, but we knock it out next turn, and Red sends out Snorlax. With Reflect, this thing is a beast. Now, I did teach Sandstorm here in place of Rage to help with some damage control, and as expected, Snorlax goes for Amnesia, which won't matter for us since we only have physical attacks. I decided to rest since I think we can take a few body slams from Snorlax, and I'd like to see Reflect wear off. We take a good bit of damage from Body Slam though. As we take more and more body slams, I'm thinking we need to rest again. As I do this, I realize a big mistake. I should have done this in a different order. When Snorlax first came out, I should have started using Earthquake quickly to get it down to a lower HP, then use Sandstorm, then use Rest. That way at least we can try to get Snorlax to rest eventually, and then while it's asleep and the Reflect wears off, take it out and move on. Well, obviously I didn't do that. I decided to try and mitigate by using Sandstorm when I wake up. We can't take one more Body Slam if it's not critical, or Paralysis. I feel disgusted. This was a perfect opportunity to take a cheeky dub, and instead we're the ones who dug our own graves. That's reset number 6. I smell victory, but it's just out of reach as we get hit with Charm on 2 more resets, which cripples any momentum we can build. I grind up 1 more level so that after rare candies we can face red at level 80. We're getting really close. First is Pikachu and we try an Earthquake. It goes for Charm and Earthquake destroys it. Next is Venusaur, and since we outspeed now, I go for Sandstorm here. It takes in Sunlight, and I take it out with a single Earthquake thanks to a critical. That's just what we needed. Up next is Blastoise, and we go for Earthquake. It's not enough to take it out, and it uses Rain Dance, negating any more turns left in Sandstorm. Another Quake takes it down. Now we're up against Espeon. It uses Reflect first, and Earthquake takes it right below half. Psychic does excellent damage, but another Earthquake finishes it off. Now there's Snorlax. I want to correct my mistakes from last time and come out swinging. We hit with Earthquake, which does a quarter. That's great. And Amnesia is about all we're going to get from Snorlax though. Another Quake takes it to half, and then Snorlax suplexes us with a Body Slam, and we use our last Earthquake, the red. Snorlax however uses Rest. Excellent. Let's go. I set up a Sandstorm, but while Snorlax sleeps, it snores, which takes us to red health due to a critical. We can't mess around, so we rest ourselves. While a turn passes, Snorlax doesn't attack thankfully, but then it wakes up and starts body slamming again. We wake up and return does take it to red. I decide enough is enough and we knock it out. Let's see how we fare against red's final Pokemon, Charizard. Well, we don't outspeed and that's it. On the next 3 resets, we can't get past Pikachu thanks to his charms. I even leveled up on the last reset. Things are looking grim. Well, let's try one more time. First for red is Pikachu, and it uses Quick Attack. Let's go. I'm not going to let this opportunity slip from me this time. Our return finishes the pesky Pikachu. On Venusaur, since I know we outspeed and Earthquake will take care of it with our full power, I use Sandstorm. It uses Sunny Day, and next turn it knocks it out. Well, that stinks. At least against Blastoise, our Earthquake takes care of it slowly but surely. Against Espeon, I don't really care at this point if it uses Reflect, but with our full power, we can take care of it with a single Earthquake. Against Snorlax, I can right my wrongs here. I go for Sandstorm to help whittle it down. It uses Amnesia, giving us a free turn to attack. Earthquake does take it down right below half, and then Body Slam connects, paralyzing us. Well, that puts a damper on my plan, so unfortunately we have to rest. We get hit with another Body Slam on the way to our deep slumber, and some Sandstorms have taken Snorlax deep in the red, so it does the same. After a turn of sleep from our 2 Pokemon, the Reflect finally wears off. We'll come swinging out the gate when we wake up. First we get hit with a Snore, then we wake up the next turn and use Sandstorm. We get hit with another Snore, but it's not a problem. Snorlax remains asleep and we quake like it's 1652, ensuring the knockout on red Snorlax. Well, here comes the big, bad Charizard. Sandstorm hits first, taking a sliver off the Pokemon. We switch to return,
but Flamethrower hits first and hard, taking us down to orange health. However, our return lands and takes care of the Charizard, and Bones has defeated the entirety of Pokemon Gold. It took about 2 hours and 16 minutes to defeat the entire game. That was disappointing. After cruising through the entire game, Bones hits a wall at red, but that's red for you. If Bones had this much trouble at red, I can't imagine the trials and tribulations Boneless will face against blue and red. We do manage to roll up to Viridian City with no resets or challenges throughout Kanto. Bones had a bit of a scare trying to manage blue, however. I can't imagine things going much better for Boneless. Since we are level 70, we can handle damage a bit better than Bones could at this point. Only one way to find out. Time to face the final Kanto gym leader. First, we've got Pidgeotto. Return does only a little more than half. Wing attack doesn't do much, and leftovers leaves just a little bit off from where we started. We knock out the bird next turn. Moving on, we're up against Gyarados. We have full health now, and return does at least half. Then Hydro Pump hits. Okay, that did less than I thought. Very well. We return with return and take down Gyarados. So far so good. Similarly for Blue's next Pokemon Executor, we outspeed and take it right to half. We're at least guaranteed a 2-hit knockout. It goes for Solar Beam, so we stop it before it gets too far with another return. Critical shouldn't matter. Blue sends out Alakazam next. The Hydro Pump isn't leaving much damage on the table. We take a Psychic just fine, still at green health, and Earthquake kisses Alakazam goodbye. Arcanine is next, and Bones wasn't able to move first. We switch to Earthquake, and wow, Boneless is able to outspeed the dog, all but completing the sweep. One Pokemon left, and Rhydon. We use Earthquake, and it can't hang. We defeat Blue quite handily at that. Leftovers made the difference there. Even without the Thick Club, Boneless doesn't have very much to worry about with some additional help with that item. That being said, I don't have high hopes for our chances with Red. We were overleveled there against Blue, and it'll be a while before we can do that with Red. We'll go in with a similar strategy at Mount Silver, with Sandstorm in the place of Iron Tail now. We use our rare candies up to level 82, just a level higher than Boneless. Unfortunately for us, like last time, there's not much we can do with a charm from Pikachu. Now our attack is effectively cut to a fourth of what a fully powered Thick Club Marowak can do. The first 3 resets are uneventful, as we can't get past Venusaur or Blastoise. On the 4th attempt, I try to see if I can teach Detect in place of Rest. Since we have leftovers, we really need to avoid Charm. However, as we go about trying that, Pikachu uses Quick Attack instead of Charm when I use Detect, and then of course it uses Charm when I switch to Earthquake. I'm really losing hope for Boneless. Let's give it one more try before going to grind. First up for Red is Pikachu. I don't know why, but I liked using Return on Bones, so why not try Return on Pikachu? And it goes for Quick Attack. This might be our chance. I think it's only a coincidence, but I don't care. We knock out the Pikachu and move on to Venusaur. Earthquake from Boneless does over half, taking the Venusaur orange health. It uses Sunny Day, so that will cut down on any chances Blastoise may have with Surf. We knock it out with an Earthquake. Okay, Blastoise is next, and Earthquake does similar damage. We don't want Blizzard to hit, and it misses. Yes! Earthquake downs Blastoise. Espeon is up after Blastoise, and it uses Reflect, outspeeding us. However, Earthquake does plenty of damage, taking it to a critical half health, just what we need. Psychic hits are decent damage, but more importantly, our Earthquake is enough, and we get to face Snorlax now. Earthquake from Marowak does a quarter, and Snorlax goes for Body Slam, not Amnesia. Uh-oh, we're paralyzed, this is bad. We do have some daylight thanks to leftovers, but we need more damage before it rests. It uses Body Slam again since we're slower for now, and then our Sandstorm doesn't work since we're paralyzed. Please, next turn I need Rest to work. Body Slam takes us deeper in the orange, but it doesn't crit, and thankfully we get off a Rest. Then the Reflect fades away. Now Snorlax uses Amnesia, allowing a critical, crucial turn of no damage. Then Snorlax uses Amnesia again. Thank you for your compliance. When Bones wakes up, we use Sandstorm. Body Slam hits for 50 damage, but no paralysis. Sandstorm hits, we heal a little, and then we Quake for massive damage. Due to a crit from Divine Intervention, Snorlax is down and there's one thing left standing in our way, Charizard. It takes a bit of damage from Sandstorm, and we switch to Return. We then take massive damage from Flamethrower, but we don't get burned, preserving our limited attack stat. Return takes Charizard below half, and Sandstorm even lower. We take another massive Flamethrower, but we do not get burned, ladies and gentlemen. Return lands, and Charizard faints. Boneless has defeated Red. We've done it, and the final results are not as different as I thought they would be. Let's take a look at Boneless first. It finished at level 82 with a real time of 2 hours and 33 minutes, game time of 8 hours 13 minutes, and 11 resets. On the other hand, we've got Bones,
who finished the game at level 81 with a real time of 2 hours and 16 minutes, game time of 7 hours and 32 minutes. It took Bones 52 minutes to beat that last segment, while Boneless finished in only 37 minutes. What happened? Bones could cruise through the first part of the game with good time. It picked up a few resets along the way, but defeating the Elite Four was not difficult. Bones even avoided most of the optional battles throughout the game. However, by the time we got to the battle with Red, that missing experience Boneless managed to pick up earlier in its run was sorely missed by Bones. Therefore, Bones had to make up ground by grinding at the end. On the other hand, Boneless faced a serious challenge from the Elite Four, but by the time we secured the item leftovers, Boneless could manage Red with no grinding required. Since it had around the same level and therefore stats as Bones by the time they both defeated Red, except in attack obviously, it meant that Boneless had become much more of a stalling opponent, while Bones was forced to use Thick Club, missing a reliable recovery route. Marowak overall is average. I prefer the Thick Club Marowak, but not by much. Boneless was really only hindered through the lack of leftovers in the solo challenge run. Marowak is slow, and higher attack stat doesn't matter very much if you're trying to run through the gauntlet that is Red without outspeeding everything and taking multiple hits. I'd give Marowak with the Thick Club a high B, and Marowak without the Thick Club a B-. If Pikachu couldn't use Charm, these grades might be different, but the reality is, Marowak with a Thick Club is a beast until the very last battle. I'll put together a tier list video soon that we can use moving forward in our next challenges. Stay tuned for that. Well, that's about going to wrap it up for this video, folks. I want to give a shout out to some creators that have helped me so far on this journey. Kangastan and Steven Plays have both helped me out a ton with this last video. They both make Pokemon challenges with their own unique twists. I also want to give a shout out to Cosmicverse, as the community they've created helped me become more comfortable in my hobby. They do a variety of content like Pokemon traded cards and drawings. Appreciate all these creators for our discussions, so please check them out if you get a chance. Also, please leave a comment or like, and I'll get back to you. I would also appreciate you subscribing if you made it this far. There's plenty more where that came from. Viewers like you make it worth creating these videos. Until then, see you next time.